Greetings, everyone. 1 second, let me adjust my light. Plug in that light, please. It's good evening and welcome to all of you. Much better. Welcome to all of you and welcome to the 14th live public meeting of the Trinidad Humanity Campaign political party. I am Marcus Ramkisoon. I am the leader of the political party. And, we thank you for joining us here this evening as we have one more day before the local government election 2023. For some of us, it's very exciting. For most of you, it should also be, something that you should be on the edge of your seats about, because governance affects every aspect of your lives. I keep having to remind people along some of my walkabouts who say to me that, if we're not voting, we're not in that, we're not in this politics thing. All right. I get it. If your sentiment is you don't want to exercise your civic right to vote because of the choices before you, maybe the choices before you are only choices that have had this position of elected management before and have not really used it to the best of their ability, or have not brought great results to you, the citizenry. And we need to understand that governance really affects every aspect of our lives, from the water flowing in your taps that you're drinking and straight up to the water that flowing in the toilet that you're flushing the toilet with. Because I don't know how many of you all know this, but in Trinidad and Tobago, a lot of the water that flowing through your toilet tank, you actually pay more for through your tax dollars, through the government contracts, than you pay for bottled water at the supermarket. Imagine that. Yes, the water that you're flushing the toilet would actually cost you more than the bottled water that you're drinking. Go check the price of the contract. It's all online, You could find all this information, the amount that they're paying per gallon and how many gallons per day. And then you'll want to know, wait. So with all that money spent, you telling me government couldn't set up their own facility to desalinate water and produce water for the pipes and grey water systems? Come on. Right? This is the kind of money we have to provide to private people in the country. And it's not to say, oh gosh, if a group of people that are not well off economically are helped to set up a facility like this, and then they are able to profit from it, that would be better. But then when you really think about it, that's the actuality. If the government sets it up, if the government uses the tax-paying dollars and sets up a facility like this, then all citizens benefit by it, because we, the citizenry, won't be paying as much taxes for this water. Simple things like that, right? And it goes straight up to all the taxes that you pay, everything that you import, you export, everything that you eat, everything that you drink, right? It's all affected at some level by governance. So governance is one of the most important aspects in your life and in everyone's life. So I ask you to be a little more serious about governance. Start realizing that, this is an everyday occurrence, and it's something that has this detrimental effect in your life. And, remember that this election, every election is the opportunity for you, the owners of the country. All of us own the country. All of us cannot manage the country and the resources of the country at the same time. So every few years we hire, through election, a team of managers whom we pay through our tax-paying dollars, and we hire these individuals to manage the resources of the public, of all of us, all our monies, all our tax dollars, all the revenues from the oil, all the 24 billion US dollars that comes in as our GDP every year to this country. And believe me, that's a lot more than most countries, right, of our size especially, right? We are a wealthy country. Where's the money, and why we have to suffer like this? Why people have to keep asking the question, why we have the second largest asphalt reserve in the world, the Pitch Lake at Labrie, right? And our roads in this condition? Come on. Right? Where's the accountability and transparency? Did you know that little pitch lake at Labrie, the second largest pitch lake in the world, the asphalt from that was used in the building of no less than 25%, 1/4 of the world's roads? All the roads in the world, 1/4 of it was built with your Trinidad and Tobago asphalt. Where's the money and accountability and transparency from it? So I made some statements today along my walkabout that some residents said to me, you know what, Mr. Ramkisoon, we were not going to vote, right? But now that you've mentioned these particular points, it's something that we think that not a lot of people are aware of, and it's something that we think you should say more and make people aware of so that they really understand the reality of what is happening. Before I go into that, I'll just finish up that point about not voting. All right. Again, if there were only two choices before you and you were dissatisfied with those two choices, I can understand the sentiment of not wanting to vote. But in a case where we have 10 parties contesting this local government election, we had 19 contesting 2020 general election, for those who don't know, right? But 10 parties and 6 independents contesting this local government election. You have a choice in most of your electoral districts. You have a choice of more than two parties. And it is therefore your responsibility to go out there and try to find out who the candidates are for your electoral districts and what they are promoting. What are they saying? What are they promising, committing to, whatever you want to call it? What are they about? Who are they? Can they read and write a technical paper if given the position? Because that is a big part of the job. The job is management. Are they qualified in management at any level? Have they had any experience in it? Do they have any experience in law writing or anything about governance whatsoever? Right? All these aspects you have to look at, because in as much as they may have to respond to the two larger parties that they are part of, right, that in itself brings a lot of problems. Now I'll explain to you how it works. Each corporation has a lot of money every year for projects. I will give you the example of Tinapuna Piako Regional Corporation. And yes, it is one of the bigger corporations, so the values are a little bigger than some of the others, but it's just to give you an example for your understanding. After the $120 million that they usually have to pay salaries in Tinapuna Piako Regional Corporation and personnel fees, the corporation is still left with about $100 million for projects. Now, from that, you could easily get, for example, you can get 50 projects that would cost $2 million a piece. What happens is, when they put out a tender for a project, and this is why the tender process is kept so hush-hush, right? And a person tenders $2 million for a project. That person is bypassed, and the person who tenders $20 million for the same project that somebody else tendered $2 million for is given the project, because that person is then going to take out a $5 million after he get the money and donate it into campaign donations. Now, and it's all legal. That is what you call a kickback, and it's legal. Why is it legal? Well, let me explain this to you, right? When you have a political party, you have to register your symbol with the EBC. When your symbol is registered, the name is by association registered with the EBC. So long as that is the case, which it is, you cannot register a political party with legal affairs as anything, profit, non-profit, anything, nothing. When you cannot register the entity with legal affairs and you go to the banks tell you you cannot open a bank account because you're not registered with legal affairs. They accept no documentation from the EBC. So we ask the question, well, if this is what you're saying, what is the common practice? When the two large parties over the multitude of decades have gotten, tens of millions of dollars in campaign contributions from individuals and companies, where does it go? And you know what they say? Into their personal accounts. What? Yes, in a day and age where you cannot commingle monies from your business bank account with your personal bank account, these individuals, elected individuals, are not even elected, even you not elected, could do this once I have a registered party, right? If you want to give me $10 million, you just have to declare it at the bank. You get zero taxes on it, it's tax-free, and it goes into my personal account. Imagine that, with no oversight as to how I spend it. And I don't have to go into a Trinidad personal account. It could go into a foreign account that nobody in Trinidad has any oversight of, right? No integrity body, no government watchdog, nobody, right? It could go into foreign accounts, and this is how they clear the money. This is where the corruption starts. This is where the corruption ends. This is where it all happens. So for that $100 million in that Tinapuna Corporation, let's see, instead of getting 50 projects for $2 million, you give 5 people for $2 million projects for $20 million bids and eat up the money in the first 2 months, right? So the next 10 months, you don't have no money in the corporation to fix your road because you give the party finances. This is what actually happens. This is what the real legal corruption is. And this is why you need somebody who is not a part of either of the two large parties in the country that are accustomed to engaging in this type of madness, right? And whose councillors have to do what their leadership says. You will finally have a watchdog party, a third party, somebody in there to pull up the socks of both of these large parties, so that when, listen, when I'm at the 2 million into the Puna Corporation, if I'm elected councillor, and I see, because I will have now the right to be aware of all who tender and what, and I see the man bid 2 million, and I go to the council meeting and I say, right, I vote for this man. I want this man who bid 2 million, he should get the project. And then say the other majority of councillors, because I would be the minority, 10 more, would say, no, we vote for the man who bid $10 million. Then the man who bid the 10 will get the project. So what can you do, Mr. Ramkisoon? I could come out in the media and show everybody. Everybody will be able to see what I see and what is happening at the corporation. And this is one of the major commitments that we have made to you. I am the first person interested in governance, if you want to call that, anybody from a political entity that has said, we will put our entire job on camera for you through YouTube if you want, for you to see everything we see, every receipt, every invoice, every money, every project cost that come in front of my eye, well, you'll be able to pass in front of your eye. Why? Because I am representing you. And if we are representing you, then you should be able to see everything we see outside of issues of national security, which are not usually dealt with at the corporation. There's no political representative in this world that has ever even suggested, far less for committed to, an idea of like this. And we are taking it to the extreme. The real aspect of it is that we want to ensure that when someone is given a contract to whatever tune, 5 million, 10 million, 1 million, 1,000, it don't matter. That contractor must now scan every invoice and every receipt and put it on a tab in the website, so that you and I know the contractor didn't pay $2,000 for a hammer, whereas you paying $30 and $40 in the hardware. Because obviously, if one man bid $2 million for a project and the next man bid 20 million, there must be some inflated cost somewhere to justify it. So all this needed transparency to the level of seeing all the aspects of the contract. So that when we finally see this project costs $2 million in materials and $50 million in labor, then somebody got to reach the question, wait, what? And this is what we will do. We will then be able to promote these ideals and say, listen, if we could do it as a councillor in a corporation, first of all, why can't the other councillors do it in the other corporations? And two, why can't you at central government engage in this level of transparency and accountability? Make your contractors scan everything and put it on the website. Let the people see every aspect of the cost of a project. Because we are the owners of the country and you are the managers. We deserve to see everything. And in this day and age of technology, maybe 40 years ago, you wouldn't be able to do that. But today, it's at the touch of a button. Come on. This is the level of transparency we at the THC will bring. And this is, again, unheard of. So a lot of people don't understand how the governance works. A lot of people doesn't seem to understand how the money is eaten up, how the money is allocated, how it's distributed, all these different aspects, right? But again, and everybody keeps saying, you have 100 different people come before us and, they say the same thing, but I keep reminding them of the 100 different people they've ever seen. They've only ever seen two parties at this local government election. They finally have an opportunity for a third party who's unaffiliated in any way with the two large parties to get in there and play that watchdog role, bark and bite, and get things done and start to get real value for our money, because it's all of our tax-paying dollars money. Why should a handful of people in this country be given that kind of exorbitant, inflated sums of money for projects, while the poor man's suffering? And you know what irks me? It irks me when some of these residents on my walkabout say, oh, well, when this party or that party was in charge, we get a walk. So we voting for them. What walk you get? I ask. CPEP. Oh, you get a clean drain and cut grass. Congratulations. You have a family? Yeah. How does 10 days walk every so often allowing you to securely take care of your family? When a pandemic come again and you're a non-essential person, don't get called out for 2 years, how are you taking care of your family? Shouldn't somebody try to help you become more stable and self-sustainable as an adult now with a family to last, something that you can use to take care of your family for years, as opposed to just depending on job to job. Look at what the things we have here. Under job creation, because we have agriculture, we've discussed food security in our mini manifesto for this local government election, right? It seems that the points we have, no other party seems to be able to bring down these points from a country level, a central governance level, to local governance. And we have the whole region talking about food security. Some of the other islands they're doing stuff. Jamaica, they're making moves. St. Vincent, they're making moves. Even Barbados, flat little island Barbados, making moves, right? And we in Trinidad only talking this food security for a decade and change now, and we taking agricultural lands to build house, to build residential compounds for different cases. I don't understand, right? So we are going to treat with food security from the corporation level in the following way. All the public lands within a corporation is maintained by the corporation. Usually they just maintain it, clean it up, make sure everything look clean and safe and all that. We are going to convert them into agricultural spaces. Commercials, if elected, commercial spaces and smaller spaces, meaning residential types. So if you live in an apartment and you want to engage in agriculture for consumption or small scale sale, you can access. If you're a farmer and you just didn't have the land before and you want to engage in commercial agriculture of whatever type, whether it be planting or animal husbandry and things, we encouraging that because that will aid our food security. Instead of we buying this sheep from Australia, this lamb chops that big, so because why? The lamb getting bigger there? No, the sheep are getting bigger there. It's the breed. Bring in a few breeding trials and set up a man to do something, and we started get it flowing, I mean, look, we have beef being the 4th largest or 5th largest thing on our food import bill, and a government that said we are going to reduce the food import bill by we stop bringing beef from North America, we're going to start to bring it from Brazil. I don't know if they understand the meaning of the word import and how you're supposed to reduce a food import bill. Not by changing import locations. Come on. Right? Come on. And the corporation will manage it, so we won't have a land full of lettuce. We'll have proper diversification of fruits and vegetables, bring in the stuff that we import in and let people start growing it and let people start selling it. And further than that, let us encourage all that level of agriculture from that corporation under organic standards, whether we have to teach it through the horticulturists and agronomists that exist within our party membership already and have said they will do it for free, right? Let's bring it on and start to bring on that state organic standard, so we could eventually convince government to set an organic standard for food, fruits and vegetables in this country. Because right now, I have said it time and time again, and people will say, well, Marcus, that's a mad statement, But I'll say it to you again. It may be healthier for you to eat fried chicken every day in this country than be a vegetarian surviving on fruits and vegetables cultivated and produced in this country. Why? Because the pesticides and chemicals that we use in Trinidad and Tobago are so detrimental that they've been banned in most developed countries. Why are we still using them? Because it's cheap. Why the government not doing anything about it and banning it too? Because they're not doing the job. That's all it is. Look at, you want one example? Roundup. The company Monsanto came out over a decade ago when there were concerns and said, no. Those concerns are not worthy. Roundup is not going to affect you, end up in your system in any way, although it ends up in the insect systems, right? And it's a DNA thing, it does affect their DNA, right? It's not going to end up in your DNA because you're not an insect. 10 years down the line, it's in your DNA, right? It's in human DNA, Roundup, little Roundups inside your DNA, right? To the extent that most developed countries have banned it. And we use it profusely here in Trinidad still on all your tomatoes and lettuces that you're eating. Right? Poor governance. That is what leads to that. Because they are responsible. Ministry of Agriculture is responsible. Right? Governance is responsible. And they're not doing anything about it. They allow this. So we will bring an organic standard, teach it, encourage it, produce it, right? And set up organic markets for it, for the people and for the farmers, right? Within our electoral district. Lead by example, right? Because when we start leading by example, we will push the ideas to the other corporations through their councillors and through the media, to their councillors, right? And to central government through the media, that if we can do it in our corporation, why can't you do it to the rest of the country? This is what a watchdog role is. Right? Is to make sure that they're doing the right thing. And if they're not doing the right thing, to pull them up on it. No other candidate from two large parties can say this because they have to respond to their leadership. So when they see the man tender $2 million for the project and they know that somebody want to give $10 million, it's probably their leadership is come and say, listen, that guy donated, vote for him, the $10 million man, not the $2 million man, and they can't do nothing because that is their party that they have to fall under and vote. Caucus voting, they can't have a mind of their own. Not in the THC, even at the THC, where I usually, as the leader, right, control the way we've operated. Every member of my party has the right to make their own decision and vote on whatever method and attribute and merit of anything on their own. If they can disagree with me if they like, because they are human beings. We are all adult, intelligent people. We have our own minds. We can't be, because of this party. Come on. It's all about country first, not party. It's all about putting the people first, and we are the people in the country, just like you. I keep saying, if you're afraid to go outside at certain times, then I'm afraid to go outside at certain times. If you suffering with certain things within the country, I am suffering with those same things. I live here too. We need better representation for all of us. Stop putting money in certain people's pockets and let's start distributing the wealth equally to everybody. Let everybody be able to access the projects they're supposed to. Let the things get done for the right value, because value for our taxpaying dollars is the whole biggest aspect of it. Why pay $20 million for a project that costs $2 million? Right? Why continue to do it? I don't understand. For the life of me, I don't understand how people can do this. Every few years we elect, and then we sit and we complain for the next few years and nothing is being done, right? And the corporation has no money and all sorts of different things. And yet still we can't, every few years we elect the same teams. Or we switch team 1 to team 2. As if there's no team 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 19. Qualified people willing to do the job, dedicated people ready to represent all of us in the right way and to get real value for money, real transparency, and get the right thing done. But every few years we vote in manager 1 and manager 2. Like if we don't know better, like if we just can't accept there's somebody else in this country to do the job. What backward level of thinking is that? I see someone commented that they're getting some problems to hear me on Facebook. I'm checking my Wi-Fi connection and everything looks proper. We are on YouTube Live right now also, just for those of you who would like to join us there. It's at Trinidad Humanity Campaign channel, and it's under the live videos tab. I do hope that you all are hearing me better now. I did see a number of viewers drop off some minutes ago and then came back on and dropped off. So I suspect it's the internet system, the Wi-Fi, because I have been having poor service on the mobile lines and Wi-Fi all day today. So maybe there's more problems like they had the other day. Anyway, as again, for those who miss anything on the Facebook, the videos are always there on the YouTube channel, right? And it's well recorded on there, so you should be able to see and hear everything from that point. So anyway, folks, we talked about food security, we talked about transparency, and I vented a little bit about some of the issues that I see and hear on my walkabouts. We were talking, I came into food security because I was starting to talk about job creation. I mentioned to you that the people within the walkabout, some have said to me, well, we get a job under this party. And when I ask them what job, they say, CPEP. And I don't think that job is sustainably enough to support an individual, an adult with a family. And I think better could be done. So outside of the food security and agricultural plans, because obviously those plans will bring some level of job security to a number of individuals who wish to engage in those agriculture projects with us, right? And that in itself will create a number of jobs. But I noticed that a lot of in terms of the two large parties, a lot of what is usually said around agricultural projects is that we will utilize these projects to get the youth element out of crime and all that. And, as much as farming and agriculture has a lot of money if you're willing to do the work, not everybody's agriculturally minded. A lot of the young people especially are very entrepreneurially minded and would prefer maybe to start a business of some sort. What we would like to do is, for persons within our electoral district that have these ideas, that wish to start a business, we encourage them to come to us and let us help them build their business plan. We are qualified to do so and we'll do it for free, and help them organize whatever documentation they need or may need to access government grants and government loans, and guide them through that process. Now, if it is that they go through that process and they're still unable to receive the financing that they seek, and we determine that there is merit to their project to the point of it will be a good investment for our electoral district. It will bring good business. It will, it will provide good infrastructure. It could encourage the right elements. It could provide some more diversity and all that stuff within our electoral district. Then we will set up a program within the corporation to finance it as a zero interest loan. When you start profiting, you pay us back in increments, and we don't want your money. We just want back what we spent. Right? So because this is the way to help citizens become sustainable, to develop their own business that they can utilize at all times, and to bring in an active income that can suffice to support them and their families. There's 10 days work under this party and that party and all of this, and vote for us and you can get 10 days work. People start thinking smarter. You deserve more, and there's so much more for you. Why give you 10 days work when they paid $80 million a mile for road to some people, and the corporation could do that job for 8? This mismanagement of the finances to supply party friends and financiers on both sides of the table, from the two large parties, from the leadership go right down, right? I have no fear of contradiction. From the leadership go right down. Right? This mismanagement must stop. And the only way it will stop is for you to put a third party in there. Simple. That is it. That is what it comes down to. Put a third party in there, and they are supposed to act as the watchdogs. Are we just mama guying you and talking to you about all this and this thing? Well, boy, I don't know. I mean, I have so much of passion and dedication into this. If you really listen to me and look at me when I talk, and if you really think this is mama guying, then if I'm mama guying you, I should become the best actor in the world. Personally. But let me say I am mama guying. Let's just see. Let's take a hypothetical situation and say Marcus is mama guying us. Then at the very worst, I would be elected and go in there and do the same thing your previous councillors for the last 20 years have done. And you get the same low level of management and representation. Hi, hello, every now and then. Oh, nice to see you. Oh, your road had a fix. We could get it. And then don't get. And a number of things. But if I'm here and I'm seeking your vote, we've contested 3 general elections consecutively. And I'm definitely going to be seeking your vote in the 2025 general election. Then if you elect us now, we have no choice but to be the hardest working councillors you've ever seen in the next 2 years, to prove to you that we worth our salt and worth your vote in 2 years. If that's not reasonable to you, I don't know what else is. Right? But this is the gist of the situation. Here you actually have people who have no choice but to work for you because we want it, and we will squeeze this position dry. And I don't mean that it benefit us, but benefit you, because it is our duty now to take the next 2 years, if elected, to not just show you in our electoral districts that we can do more than a councillor and that you've seen, but we want to take the opportunity to show the entire country that Trinidad Humanity Campaign, the THC, is the right party to elect into central governance. And if you give us that position as councillor now for the next 2 years, right, we will utilize it and wring it dry. We will get all out of it to show you that we can stop this corruption and mismanagement. We can bring out the level of transparency and accountability we could bring would be unheard of, and we could drastically reduce crime in our electoral districts. Because our plans to reduce crime, which I'll get into now, have not been stated by any member of local governance or of any of the candidates for local or central government over the last 20 years. I have not heard it. Maybe you have, you'll inform me. And it seems to me that none of these parties, whether the 2 large entities or others even, are able to bring down these crime reduction plans from the countrywide level, from a central governance level, down to a local governance level, all except us. So we have 3 plans for crime within our electoral districts if elected. One is the easiest. Work with the station supervisors and those in charge, and try to help them develop better patrol routes and better patrol times and all that. Easy, right? 2, biggest one and one we're most proud of. We want to set up an operations center in the police stations that are responsible for our electoral districts. Right? Just like we have the National Operations Center in Port of Spain that monitors the cameras and the highways and all that stuff, and in other places. We think the same way the government reform of a decentralization process to delegate more authority and management to the councillors at the local government level, which is what's happening now. Apparently, it's passed but not proclaimed. I don't know what's going on there. And we should have done that before the election. But anyway, Digicel problem internet. My person was commented that said, I understand. Again, for you, just if you're hearing us now, we're on the YouTube live too, and for whatever you've missed, you could replay the video and go back and do it. I did make a few important points earlier regarding how campaign donations work and the bank accounts of the parties, which already exist, and how the money goes into the candidates' personal accounts. Right, a good point to note. So this operation center we want to set up at each police station, right, and set up literally the monitors, the hard drives, the computer systems to operate it, and 1,000 cameras within the little electoral district. That will result in more than one in every corner. Well, at least one in every corner. Let's put it like that. Some corners will have 2, right? If we're able to put 1,000 camera system in your electoral district and have one in every corner, what do you think is going to happen? First of all, you increase the detection rate and evidence collection and all that stuff, right? And you know which direction, they went here, they went right, they went left, and all that stuff. But it will do the same thing that the research and practice has shown it to do all over this world. London had a lot of crime at one point, and now in all the movies you watch, London is one of the safest places. Because why? They tell you in the movies, right? You can't be seen anywhere, and they can't go anywhere in London without being seen by a camera. That's what they did. They instituted a proper monitoring system, and they reduced their serious crime so drastically. It's incredible. Again, the research and practice around the world has proven this. Why aren't we engaging in it? How much will this system cost, Mr. Ramki, soon? Because we must have heard it will cost $20-30 million. That too much? Yes, it only costs you less than $2 million. Because if you call Radio Shack or any, and I'm promoting that brand, but it's a known brand people mind. If you're any electronics store that supply these things in Trinidad and Tobago, and you ask for the high quality cameras and the systems and the everything and the maintenance contract for the year, that's the cost you're going to get, less than 2 million TT. I was saying in some of my earlier videos, less than 1 million TT. But I've been corrected by a camera guy who said for the 1 million TT, you could get the system, but you wouldn't get the best type cameras. And if you want the best type cameras, such and such and such, it work out to be a little less than 2 million. But it's not 20 and 30 million like the central government calls it. And when we're able to do these projects for these costs, then we can promote to the central government through the media. And we can ask the question, but why? Why aren't you all doing it if this is the actual cost? And then when you all do it, why is the cost $20 and $30 million? We will achieve better value for all our money through forcing the hand of local and central government to do the right thing by leading by example. Oh, Mr. Ramki, soon you put in the police station to monitor crime. You know you have to monitor. Yes, we know. And that's why the third point in crime is that whilst we do all that camera and monitoring system, we're also going to purchase the body cameras, vehicle cameras, and GPS tracking devices for the police officers and vehicles at the stations. So they will be monitored while they're monitoring crime. No police vehicle are going to use for no criminal activity again. We can know everywhere that vehicle goes, zoop, zoop, zoop. We know where it's going. All the time. Yeah? Holistic plans, taking into consideration the various aspects, understanding the reality of what happens in our country. So putting plans in place for all of that. Tell me which local government candidate or general election candidate you've ever heard such a holistic and well-covered plan from. And the cost, with the cost, ever. I'll wait. No, I won't wait because that will take you too long. Because you wouldn't be able to tell me. That's not how it works in our country usually, because we stuck with this two-party system and everybody under them had to respond to their leadership. We have our own leadership. We are our own party. This is what a watchdog role is. Somebody that is outside of those entities to stop what is happening, right? To put an end to it. This is where we can work. Use us is what we're saying to get better governance for all of us. Yeah. So I think I mentioned within now talking about those crime reduction points, I think I would have covered the four main points in our mini manifesto for local government elections. As you see, all of these points are being addressed at a corporation level, at the council level. We're not talking about changing laws because that is legislature and central government effects. We're not talking about firearm things because all the central government effects. That is nothing to do with the local government election. No councillor cannot make a law to do anything different. Right? That's not the position. That's not the job. So please, people, don't fall for that chain up on that mama guy. Right? This old rhetoric that is sticking with here that has nothing to do with local government elections whatsoever. And next one with the reform, I mean, reform is great, sure. But it's been on their manifesto since the first election in 1956. And has been on almost all with a little 20-year period in between from 1981, I think, or to 2007, right? But it's been on that manifesto. Why haven't they done it before? And why is it now not proclaimed yet? And we in a local government election, and that is your main rhetoric for the whole reform. But he ain't doing it in actuality. Anyway, now mind you, in as much as it's good because the money will be available more to councillors without having to request it as such detail, that could also lead to a lot more corruption and mismanagement. Right? For those of you all who don't know that, yeah, again, just to give you an understanding, for example, Tunapuna Piako Regional Corporation, there are 16 councillor seats and there will be 4 aldermen. Those 20 individuals are responsible for the full allocation to the Tunapuna Piako Regional Corporation by central government each year, which in total usually is about $180 to $250 million. Those 20 people are in charge of that money, if you want to call it that. Yeah. This is the job. This is what it is. Again, I ask, are those people qualified? Do those people have any management experience? Do those people have what is their track record in terms of dealing with money? Right? Are they persons of integrity? Right? All these things. What level of intelligence they have? All these things. You, the employer, hiring this person through election at this point in time and at every election, should be asking. People say it's not my business. It is. The country is literally your business. It's all of our business because we all own it. But you own 1 out of 1.5 million of it. Ever heard the term GDP per capita? That means that the gross domestic product of the country, right, for the year, if they were to take it and not do anything with it, right, don't fix hospital and fix road, do nothing with it, then they're supposed to divide that by 1.5 million and give you a certain amount every year. And then you fix the road and you pay for your doctor and you do everything. But that's not how society works, right? It's easier and better to have an elected team manage the resources. Yeah? But when you continue to elect managers and say, well, boy, they're going to do better next time. I don't understand. That's kind of weird. Because if you are a business owner, and you own a little parlor self at home, and you hire a manager to manage that job, and they start to tell you, well, here we're going to, I collecting the salary and everything, but I going to privatize this part of the shop here. And somebody else come and operate this part of the shop here. What you could do, you go and say, all right, manager, that's a great idea. You bring in somebody else and right? No, you privatizing my shop. You giving away or selling away a piece of my shop, or you could do that as a manager. You can't sell away a piece of my shop. But this is what happens with the country. We privatizing all the public resources. More is to come. When the elected team is supposed to manage these public resources, that is the job. That is what we elected you for. That's what we hiring you for, to manage it. If you can't manage it to the point that you want to sell it. I owned a restaurant once, well, for 7 years. And one time I went away and I hired a manager. Well, he was working before I went away. I had a manager and I went away and I leave him for 3 weeks and I come back. When I come back, my guy say, sit down, I want to talk to you. Right? So, okay, cool. Say, here we're going on, I have a proposal for you. You stay home from now and don't come back here. and I could give you X amount every month, and I can handle things from here. Now, when I sit down and I know my business, obviously, and I realize what the person offering me, basically, he offering me the manager's salary, right? He's offering me the manager's salary as the owner of the business and telling me, stay home, right? And we can give you the manager's salary, just stay home, and I can run the business, you know? And this is what seems to be happening at our levels of governance, and it's so sad and disappointing. And I don't even know what words to use sometimes. But it is enough to get people angry. People who know what's happening and what's going on there and where it's actually going. You know, and we keep falling for this brainwashing system. I heard one party say today that, well, you see, I can't discuss it like that because then I'll have to mention the parties. But basically, each person on these two parties keeps defending their parties to the very end and seems to be blind, literally, to what is happening on a daily basis. I don't know. I don't get it. I can tell you that if I ever reach the position of leadership to that extent, I do not want you, the citizenry, to look at me, because you shouldn't be doing this with anybody, as being higher or better than or something greater than yourself. We are all equal, all of us. President, prime minister, kings, or whatever you want to call them, to the homeless man on the street. We are all human beings and are equal. Stop treating these people like there's something better than you. Start treating yourself like you are as good as everyone else, because this is what you are. Anyway, folks, we have a wonderful day. Tomorrow is Sunday, as the last day before election on Monday. If you all support what we are saying, if you all have gotten access to our plans through the flyers in your mailboxes or through looking up on our Facebook page and seeing the post with the mini manifesto and all these plans I've just described to you here, and you find that they're sensible, they're reasonable, they seem feasible, and if you've not heard these plans, as I keep saying, from any of your local and central government candidates for the last 20 years, and you find to ask yourself, but wait, how come? Then I ask you, if you supporters, come out on Monday and cast your vote. Because if you stay home, come like you're giving it back to them. They have core supporters, they go to maxis and pick up people and all that stuff and carry them to vote, right? That is how they usually take the elections. For all of those people who want a third party, for all of those people who are fed up of the two large parties, for all of those people who are so fed up they don't even want to vote, we need you. If you support what we are promoting, we need you to come out and take your time and actually dip your finger, because better governance is at your fingertips. It's all up to you. You control your future. You all control our future, all of ours, all the collective. I encourage you to start thinking, start understanding that this governance affects every aspect of your life. Start understanding that the next few years of your life is going to be affected by who you elect on Monday. And don't ask for this jersey thing, because this $1,500 jersey here gonna cost you a lot more when you can't get proper representation for the next 3 years. Right? As intelligent thinking Trinbagonians, I'm using humans right now, Trinbagonians, don't be mama guide. Music truck passing loud all day today with the two different parties. Don't take that chain up. This governance, they should be coming to you and talking to you about serious issues, not trying to entertain you and bringing entertainment to you. There's a time and place for that. It's Trinidad and Tobago. Go to a party, go to a fete if you want that. Governance and campaigning should not be about that. That should be the first sign to any intelligent thinking Trinbagonian that they come into Mama Guy here and just want your vote, and for the next few years going to give you the same thing they gave you in the last number of years. In another one of my areas in Europe, there a person said to me, under one of the large parties councillors, we did see some stuff. And I said to her, fine, if your councillor is working for you and the thing, you give them your vote, of course, that's what you're supposed to do. And then she pointed out with some of the things. They said, they build this park and they build this swing and all this thing. And I asked, do you know the cost? And I can almost guarantee you that if you look up the cost of those projects, you will realize that, wait now, a man charge how much to build a swing? Is a house swing or what? I'm telling you, this is how it goes. So even though they're helping, the cost of the projects are overinflated because it goes out to party friends and finances so they could put back some money as campaign donations legally, right? And so it goes, and we circling and cycling, and some people making a lot of money while everybody else suffering, and while the crime going up and everybody else suffering because of that. Because if you're not suffering because crime going up, pray that it don't reach your doorstep. A couple people said to me, no, we don't want your flyer. No thanks. I said, so you're comfortable with the way things is? And they said, yes, very. Sad. I said, okay, perfect. You're entitled to your opinion, of course. I'm not here to fight nobody on their opinion. I'm here to tell people why we think we can do a better job at governance and exactly how we intend to do that better job. That's all we're here for. But it is sad because that person lives in a pretty high crime area. And for that person to say they're comfortable with the way things going, I can only imagine that they must be one of those few people that benefit from certain people being elected into management. Because you can't tell me that you're living in Trinidad today and have been for some time and you're not aware, or you don't care that the crime is going up the way it's going up. You don't care that we're losing a minimum of one citizen a day, like some kind of dystopian movie on TV, right? That one of us had to be sacrificed per day, like a purge or something like that, right? And we don't know who is all at random, because it's not just gang people and criminal elements, and it's not just poor people. We've seen some of the richest people in this country, right, being held up at their homes. It's across the spectrum. It's the whole spectrum. And nothing is being done to seriously address it. Do you know that I, and as the THC leader, have presented officially, written officially to Ministry of National Security, Minister Hines himself, Commissioner of Police, Prime Minister, through another group that I was part of up to a couple of months ago, right, that deals with basically a lobby group for our government pressure group to try to gain crime reduction. And we've made the points and put them forward. And I've even spoken to the minister and to Commissioner of Police in person and presented a particular plan, which is the visibility and presence, increase of visibility and presence. Why? Because in 2009, when we had the then U.S. President Obama here, and for the Fifth Summit of the Americas, right, we in our police services engage in a strategy whereby they put regiment officers with police officers in vehicles at every intersection along the east-west corridor from Arima to Kayanaj, and on the main road, and at the entrances and exits to certain hotels. Just sit down in the car, right? And you know what happened? Check the papers of the day. There was a 90-something% reduction in crime. I don't want to quote it, don't quote monitor, but I don't think we had any murders in the 10 days, the week leading up to the summit and the days of the summit, in a time when there were murders the same way, one a day kind of thing, right? Why? Because the criminals respect Obama. Come on, behave, right? Because we engage in a strategy that has been proven through research and practice around the world to work, just like the camera thing. Increase presence and visibility of the police. And the damn thing is, the silly thing is, we used that strategy in Trinidad, experimented with it, and proved its success in Trinidad. And now, in 2023, right, 14 years later, we have more vehicles, more manpower, more resources. It's not going to cost anything. No extra money is needed. It's just a reorganization strategy with the Ministry of National Security, because we need the regiment, and with the Commissioner of Police, who's in charge of the independent police body, right? And re-employ. I went on a couple of TV news morning shows and begged. I said, I beg you, Commissioner of Police, employ this strategy for at least entertain me, and at least do it for 2 weeks, because we did it for a time and it proven. If in 2 weeks you see it not working, scrap it. But if in 2 weeks you reduce the murder rate from 7 and 10 and up a week to at least 5 self, you would have done so much. You would be the most celebrated commissioner. This we as small parties would have no chance against contesting an election, because the government will always win, because they actually did something to reduce the crime, but they're not doing anything that's sensible, and the crime is not going down. You know what going on? Speeding. With all them with all the roadblock, right? But illicit firearm import, drugs, all these things are going up. Violence, murders are going up. People are losing. There's now a life or death matter. So again, we're not going to be addressing. Well, we are. We're not really going to be addressing the heavy. You can't change the laws at the local government level, but as I said, 1,000 cameras in your area and a monitoring station, a monitoring a thing at the police stations, right? Whilst we buying the body and vehicle cameras and GPS devices for them to monitor the police at the same time. So a holistic plan will definitely drastically reduce crimes in crime and serious crime, especially serious crime in the electoral districts, which we implement that system in. Give us the opportunity to get in there and do it for no inflated cost, for less than the 2 million that I say, because obviously we're not going to buy it retail. We are going to buy it wholesale. So the retail cost we already got the estimate on will be less by far, because 1,000 cameras, we are buying 5. So again, folks, if you want a change, because honestly, for the first time in 13 years of contesting elections, for the first time, I've said on TV before that if I got more than 100 votes, I would be surprised in a general election, right? Because I'm realistic about the politics. Right? I understand the politics of politics in Trinidad and Tobago, and I am a realist. But for the first time, and I don't know, maybe people mama guy and me, sure, but the support that I've seen, what I can gauge as sincere support, this time has been tremendous. It's been more than I've ever seen, leading me to be able to state for the first time, THC may have a chance. And if THC gets that chance, this country may have a chance to get something better for all of us. Because we are not going to stick it just at the corporation level. I telling you, you put me as a counselor, and when central government say we have a flyover and somebody building for $200 million, I could get the specs and send out an RFP because I can do it. Why I can't do it? Right? I just RFP I asking for a request for proposal. And if another company say, well, no, well, instead of 200 million, we could do it for 50 million. Well, the question has to be asked. Oh, why we didn't use this company? And then we could force the hand of central government like that to get better value for our money. I could do that from a councillor position. Any of our members, any of our candidates. What you do need is a third entity in there finally. Cast your vote for the third parties this year, folks. Right? And remember, I keep hearing, oh, we like this guy. Just remember there's a certain guy that has joined with one of the larger parties and is no longer by themselves. If they've joined with one of the larger parties, which we will not do, because every person who was elected before and had an opportunity, if they couldn't do it then, they're certainly not going to do it now. So we don't believe in recycling politicians. That's not the way it should go. That's the same hiring back manager 1 and manager 2 and not looking for a manager 3 example that I used earlier. Right? It doesn't make any sense, logically, reasonably, anything. So we need to look at the third parties, and I ask you, I know it's only 1 day left, but I continue to ask you, please look at what all your candidates are saying. Please try to gauge who they are, and please try to ask the serious questions. Don't go out there. I saw some children dancing to some of the music trucks today from the politicians, and I was, oh my goodness, is what we're doing is a brainwashing thing. It is a brainwashing thing. Break out of that mental chains. Break it. Right? Come out of it and start realizing that governance affects every aspect of your life and that your vote makes a difference. Start thinking more reasonably and sensibly for you and your families, and help us help you help everyone. Folks, it's been a nice evening. I give you thanks for joining us today. You are welcome. Please, we ask you, check out our Facebook page, see all the posts we've done, all the interviews and stuff we've done for the last 13 years, right? And see who we are and what we're about. Read our manifestos from 2015 and 2020. See what we stood for back then and what we stand for now, right? We have done things without even being elected and have put forward laws for our own country here and have worked on bills towards the parliamentary committee and the JSC. We do work whilst not being elected. Imagine what we could do if elected. Give us the chance to shake up governance in this country and to make things better for all of us. Trinidad and Tobago, I give you thanks for taking the time out this evening to listen to us and to consider. I ask you again, make sure and read our manifesto points. They're on our Facebook page. If you're in St. Joseph, Valsin, St. Joseph electoral districts, they're in your mailbox, right? Check it out. I know Sunday is not the day people is going to the mailbox, but check it out. I still have maybe 1 hour walkabouts to do tomorrow to finish everywhere within my electoral district, and I'm very proud that I would have walked all of it and put a flyer in every mailbox this time, so at least everybody has the opportunity to find out who we are this time and what we're about. You know, tomorrow is our last day, and Monday's election. Again, I implore you, if you support what we're saying and what we're about, come out and cast your vote, and let us hope that we are able to get a better governance structure in this country for all of us. One last point, because I see a friend has joined us here on the live. A minister within one of the ministries has said recently and has discussed the huge problem with traffic congestion and the huge cost to the country that it's causing and all that. But I don't know why Mr. Minister couldn't remember just the other day in the pandemic when we had work from home programs that were very successful for some businesses, right? And eased up the traffic completely. I don't know whether they understand the process of decentralizing border speed, right? Which another third party promotes more heavily than us, and we're all for it, right? I don't understand why these people come out here and complain and don't actually give you a solution. When I tell you I despise that, I despise people coming to me and okay, you have a problem? Where's the solution? No, we don't have a, but so what you come what so you're not going to think about a solution, you just go and talk. And that's what got me into politics in the first place, you know. Right? My grandmother and my father watching the news every night, right? And talk. But nothing coming out about anything towards a solution. And so it really gets to me. Anyway, folks, you have an opportunity this time, for the first time in local government election, you have an opportunity for a third party to represent you, somebody to act as a watchdog and bark and bite and pull up the socks of the two large parties, pull up on them and stop the mismanagement that occurs in the corporations, get better value for our money, and bring transparency to you all on a level that no government in the world has undertaken before. I ask you, seek the information on our website, on our Facebook page, within your mailbox if you're living in my electoral district. And if you do support what we're saying, come out on Monday and vote. Folks, thanks for your time this evening. Tomorrow we have our last public meeting at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here. Same THC time, same THC channel, live on the Facebook, live on the YouTube channel, right? We ask you to share, get more people to join if you find what we say making sense. And let's have a good final meeting and look forward for election day on Monday. Thanks to everybody for your time. Have a good night. Stay blessed.